guys for coming. I'm totally fascinated by the concept of the Winchester girls. I don't know if you rent out, by the way, but I could always use that sort of fan base. So, even
TV guide.
Alright, see, this is how we get the feedback, and just give me my own crew, and then we're set. I just wanted to say, like, really quick, it's actually an honor to be up here moderating this one. I've been doing a lot of them this weekend, but I actually really love the show. It's exciting. I can't believe you too, so actually, let me hear one time. Just the beauty of it to me, it reminds me, like, as a kid, you stay up late, you watch, like, the Chiller Theater and all that kind of stuff, only, like, you get it with this show, you get the excitement, without used car ads and all that kind of stuff, and it's a really entertaining show, one of the most fun that we have on TV. So, I want to tell you what we have coming up for you before we get to our panel. We have a couple of surprise things for you to look at. First of all, we have a world premiere of a script-to-screen video. It's going to be from the Season 2 DVD collection coming out on September 11th. Behind the scenes making of last season's season finale, which I'm going to guess you all know the name of. But, All Hell Breaks Loose, Part 2. It just shows why you never leave the gates of hell open, by the way. If I could leave with any bit of advice today, never open them. And if you open them, shut it quickly. Nothing good's going to happen. And we're going to follow that with a 2.5-minute highlight reel put together by the producers exclusively for you guys. So, take a look at all this stuff, and we'll be back. Like one day, I was like, just wake up, sleep late, get a sandwich, go to a movie. First up, producer Sera Gamble. Okay, next up, I feel you'll recognize Kripke, executive producer. A young man who's getting a break with the show, and hopefully things turn out for him pretty well. I think they might. Jensen Ackles. And last and never least in anyone's heart, co-EP, Mr. Ben Edlund. All right, first, thank you guys for being here.
No, thank you.
Now, this is your first Comic-Con, right? The first, like, full-on Comic-Con experience for you guys?
Yeah, we screened the pilot a couple years ago, but none of us were here, so this is our first interaction with Comic-Con. We're overwhelmed. So thanks for showing up.
What do y'all think so far? What do you think of the experience?
I'm waiting for my heart race.
More cameras than I have ever seen. I should sit next to you all.
So I think the only problem we're going to have today is people aren't very enthusiastic. So I think just amp it up a little bit for these guys. Right. I guess what I want to do is sort of start with the end, with the finale we saw a little bit of. As I mentioned before, you got to know if you leave the gates of hell open, it's not going to be good.
No, it's rarely good.
It's a couple seconds maybe. So what's in store? What can you tell everybody that we get?
Yeah, season 3 is really a wartime season, which it's a giddy time inside the writers' room because we've had 2 seasons of mythology, and quite frankly, the mythology started to get a little complicated towards the end there, and so to be able to kind of wipe it clean and have a fresh slate and lead organically into a much bigger escalation and a much more vital storyline, which is it's the end of the world, like pick up arms, choose a side, try to fight it. And just raise some hell. So we're really excited for this season, and we think we've always aimed for kind of like the big picture mythic storytelling of like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Matrix, and there's always a point in which you kind of set the chessboard and it's kind of time for the fun stuff to begin, and it's time for the fun stuff to begin.
It's been kind of fun so far.
Yeah, it's been fun so far, but it's it's time for the battles and it's time for the good stuff. And we've been like the whole time when the show got picked up, I was like, oh please make it to season 3 because season 3 is when all hell breaks loose. And I'm glad that here we are and we're looking to deliver for the fans.
Have you mapped it out that much in advance? Have you mapped it out to, okay, if we get to season 3, we're going to be here, 4, 5?
You have kind of like a rough map. You very intentionally leave large gaping holes in it because certain storylines accelerate and certain storylines take longer than you think. But yeah, there's like a rough plan that that we're still vaguely on track with. Yeah.
Now I know there's some things you can maybe say about the new season. Some new characters, 2 female characters. What can you guys tell us?
Thank God.
Sarah, how often had you had to go into the writer's room and say, just, come on?
Just anybody but Jared for someone.
You're saying that now.
Yeah.
That's why he's not here. So,
Yes.
so he can say those kind of things. What can you say about the new character, the 2 new females that are coming in?
Well, a couple things is one is, and this is sort of to fans and certain misconceptions and whatnot, they're not brought in to be the boys' girlfriends. There's not going to be the 4 of them like riding in the Impala, like eating Scooby snacks, and playing like that's not the intention at all. They're brought in to be antagonists and obstacles to the boys. They thread in and out of the story the same way that a lot of our other characters did, like Gordon or Agent Henriksen or Bobby and Helen. And we're working really hard to introduce them correctly and making them part of the fabric of the show. The universe was always going to expand, and there's always going to be these new characters, and so different characters. And so we're introducing them right, and they're both very different. Ruby is kind of unhinged and a little ruthless and a little dangerous. And tune in for episode 2. There's a big reveal on Ruby. She's sort of not who she seems to be. And Bella, who I'll let Ben describe because Ben Edlund created her.
Hi. Well, Bella is, in this world, pretty much everyone who's got contact with the supernatural, the stories we've been telling, they're cause-based. Right? I mean, like it's a heroic struggle of good versus evil, and Bella is designed to be not that. She doesn't really have a cause. She's in it for herself. She is a thief, basically, and so we're going to play, I think, some pretty interesting games with her, and she's going to be kind of a constant foil for the boys' intense and activities. Not a constant like the Scooby-Doo kind of foil. That's not what I'm talking about. But yeah. So she's pretty cool. She's a cat burglar. Yeah. She's hot.
That helps. Tetsu, what do you think about having the new characters in here? No love interest apparently, so skip that. But
well, I think it's. I know from Jared and I's perspective, it's very welcoming to have people come on the show. You can actually build a relationship, form a structured relationship with someone. I know that we've had a couple of characters come in and out. We had Dad on for a while, and it was great to have him. And every time he'd come on, there was just this dynamic that we felt very comfortable in because it was something that was familiar to us. Same thing with Jim Beaver playing Bobby. It's just you get to really dive in and explore a relationship between 2 characters when you get to work with them more. So I think to introduce characters that are going to be around a little bit more, whatever they might be, you get to see more of a dynamic between those characters, between the 2 brothers, and it adds more layers to an already very layered show.
okay. Now, I probably can't say a whole lot about who's coming back, whether it's Dad, whether it's anybody. I know, Sarah, can you maybe talk a little bit about the other things coming back from
We're going to see Gordon again. Gordon is bad things are in store for Gordon.
You say that very sadistically, so...
Gordon is one of my favorite characters, and it just so happens that we were working on something for him this past week, so I'm really stoked. And Sterling K. Brown is a fantastic actor, and we were really lucky to get him. And he's an Army husband on Army Wives, so we don't have him for long, so we wanted to make sure we took advantage of him. And we're really exploring Bobby this season. We're telling a story. And we have these two women, and they'll be right in the boys' faces, but they won't make them happy or satisfied in any way. It's just more pain and torture. That's what our show is.
I regret being happy about this, by the way, now that you're on.
I don't know, just anything.
I'm sorry, you're the star of the most nihilistic show on network television.
Fantastic.
So you look at this now, in theory anyway, Dean has a year to live.
Yes.
Right? There's always the story, if you have a year to live, what are you going to do? So you got a year to live, what are you going to do?
Well,
apparently,
what would Dean do? It's fairly obvious. And he plans on doing that. Lots of that.
Somebody give a show on Cinemax Friday nights after midnight.
All of a sudden.
The Dean Winchester Diaries.
So you mix that in, and also trying to stay true to what he is and what he does with his brother, and keeping that that road show and that heroic force going, but also having that knowledge of knowing, hey, I got limited time, I'm going to make the most of it. And his idea of making the most of it is
There'll be a European
good times.
Hopefully no torture then.
No.
Although you actually raised one point, I sort of thought again watching that I feel kind of sorry for Sam and Dean, and that really, how much fun do you ever get to have? It's dark, there'd be demons all the time. Have you ever thought of doing, I don't know, the Hawaiian episode or something?
I have often been trying to pitch the demon surfer in Hawaii.
You're on the side now. I got to play something.
That's not really the show. I think it was a quote from Sam Raimi actually, which is invent characters you love and then torture them. Sam and Dean, that's the heroic struggle, man. We're hoping for a happy ending for the Winchester boys when it's all said and done, but they've got a lot of work to do, and then but they have fun along the way. It's just their fun is sort of kind of reckless cowboy fun. It's roadhouses and beer and loose women and
You say that like a negative.
No, it's not a negative. I'm saying there's like a real part of the show is it's on the road, and there's sort of like a wish fulfillment to just be able to ditch your job, ditch your life, get in a muscle car, and just cruise the country, and that's fun too. That part, that great American road trip. There are moments, so it's not all bad. It's but you can't have a horror show and have like nice things happen. What a delightful piece of pie.
One of my favorites from last year was and I think Ben, you wrote the Hollywood episode.
Yeah.
Which was, I know you. Where did that come from? It was kind of a fun one-off sort of thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that sort of just kind of proves that they can have fun in a way. It's more we have fun than they have. They have a lighter moment here and there, and that one I think came from, really, the Hollywood episode is the challenge for every kind of show. You're eventually going to take a look at something like that, especially if you have you're getting around the country. This is a show about Americana in a lot of ways. Hollywood is this big, central kind of draw. American ghost stories take place there. But that was just really, really lots of fun to do. I don't know.
And we became enamored with the idea of that they're making basically an episode of Supernatural in the show. And one thing we did, and I'll completely admit this, and if I get busted for it, I don't really give a crap. But Gary Cole was this studio executive, and every note he gave the production were real notes we got from the network. So if you go back and look at it, we have had to suffer every one of those notes, like, why can't it be brighter? and you know, and why, you know, and all those things. And then we hung him. And snapped his neck. And it was just like, well, that's our response.
A lot of catharsis.
Yeah, it was very cathartic, if nothing else.
See, actually, I'm curious what you heard when you were pitching the show. Did you guys?
It was the funniest thing. The notes calls, you know, they love it. They love it. We love it. It's so funny. And we were like, really? Because we're ripping on you. But they loved it.
Yeah, they really do. It's well.
They have a sense of humor.
It's true. It's a funhouse mirror. I like those. I like to look like a little round one and then a tall, skinny one.
He does.
I really do. I stuck on the tall, skinny.
Do you have any office, or could you just walk by and put one up?
He just likes to go to carnivals. It's a weird thing.
I'm glad you hired me. It's nice to have an address to show up every day. It keeps me grounded. It's true.
You know, one thing actually that I'm curious if we can step back to the beginning of the show when you're pitching it around just to get it on the air, what the reaction was. I mean, was it the same? Yeah, but could we give them a dog?
No. It was an idea or a version of an idea that I'd had for probably like 8 years before it got set up. And it used to get a really cold response. But there were different versions of it, and some of them sucked out loud. And like, you know, one of them was an anthology, and one of them was a reporter, and you know, there's all these different versions of the show, and it always met with a collective yawn. But it, you know, just goes to show you, it's like, you know, you hold on to an idea long enough, and sooner or later the market kind of turns, and you know, the market of what people are looking for just kind of turns in your favor. And I happened to be pitching it just by a fluke of timing, right as Grudge and The Ring were like tearing up the box office. So, you know, it was a really easy pitch to sit down in front of, you know, a network and say, you know, what The Ring and The Grudge are doing, you know, in box office, I want to do that on TV. And of course, you know, the show isn't really that, and in your heart you know what you want the show to be, but you just need a pitch to get them excited. And they, you know, they were really excited. We were actually in a bidding war over the pilot once the timing was right. So, you know, a lot of enthusiasm for the idea. And then I wrote it, and then they said, we hate it. but at least the pitch sold. That's really true. I spent 3 months on the script and was like, oh, here's my baby. And I showed it to them. They're like, this is unreadable. And they tore it up. And they said, we hate it. And so me and, you know, co-executive producer Peter Johnson, I spent 3 months on the first draft. We tore it up. We rebroke in the entire story. I wrote it in 10 days, and that was the pilot that got shot.
You know, I can see why you hung the guy and broke his neck now.
Yeah.
It made you feel better, and you got it out of your system. Going back, actually, the Hollywood episode makes me also wonder, going down, everybody, tell me a favorite episode. Do you have a particular one, maybe, you know, that whether you wrote it or you had a big part in it? Was there one that you look back and go, yeah, you know, that's the one?
Okay. No, okay. I really like the pilot still. I fell in love with the show when I saw the pilot. The second I saw that ghost for the first time, I was like, that is the show I'm working on, for sure. And, you know, I just think we do really good season openers. I really liked In My Time of Dying a lot. Yeah. And everything Ben Edlund ever wrote.
Thanks. That's true.
I've got a few that are very dear to me. I know, I mean, obviously the pilot stands among all rest, but Dead in the Water holds kind of a special place in my heart. It was kind of the first time where I really got a sense of who Dean was, and I was able to peel back some layers. But I think more recently, I think my favorite, just because of the amount of the toll that it took on me personally, was the season finale of season 2, All Hell Breaks Loose, part 2. You know, after building a relationship both on camera and off camera with, you know, the guy that plays your brother on the show, and then to have to play scenes in a room with him dead was very, very, you know, hard and emotional for me. And at the end of the day, it was just, I was completely spent. And so I think that really, because I was able to kind of go someplace and do that. And, you know, those are kind of defining moments for me as an actor, to be able to do that kind of stuff and really feel proud about it.
mean, I love them all. I mean, they're all kind of, different versions of my kids. But my favorite, my single, if I had to choose one single episode in season 2, is my favorite, would have been Night Shifter. And that's Bank Robbery episode. It's just, the concept was so tight, and it was so well written, and Phil Segrisha, the director who's directed some of our best episodes, I mean, if you look, the ones he did, they're always some of our best, and he just shot the hell out of it, and it was the most, probably for me, the single most entertaining episode of the season.
All right.
Yeah, you are.
You don't choose one from me, you're fired.
They're all from you. They're your children. I like a lot of them. Oddly enough, before you said that, I was actually thinking the Genie one.
My directorial debut.
But also, Jensen, you went through a hell of a lot in that one too. It wasn't just like directly, it wasn't as built, the big lose your brother thing, but there was an emotional place that got to. That thing, I really loved that. And the story conceit worked really well. This is a good show, I think. I like it. I also the thing that really got me into the show, more so than I usually get into TV at all. It was the run, the end, 3 episodes of the first season, when it really started to do its first, the curl of the mythology started to crash on its first shore was really great. And the way that just the plotting, the breaking, and the intensity of it rocked. So good. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, actually, the most important part of the show, we're going to throw it up into questions. So I understand people have some.
This actually isn't so much a question as 2 comments. One, Jensen, I just went to see Tenenchiro on Wednesday. I'm here on behalf of some people from Fandom Rocks, which is a group of fans looking to donate money to charity, and they have some letters for you, Mr. Kripke, Jensen, and also one for Jarrett before he wasn't here. Is it all right if I bring this?
You pass over there.
The Warner Brothers people. There. Thank you. They will get to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Next.
Hi. So I'm sure there's a couple different cars that you use when you're filming the show. Obviously, it's a car question. I just want to know what size engine.
Is that an Entendre? Or? It felt like one, didn't it? Yes. Do you know? I honestly, there's the transpo department up there.
427 and 1, I know.
Nice.
That's the biggest.
Awesome.
That's so tough. That's the biggest one we've got. That's the stun one. That's the one we've got. We've got some hydraulic brakes. We've got skid plates on that one. We've got some stabilizing bars underneath it.
Jensen is a man.
Yeah.
Wow. And then we have a few others that are just kind of, picture cars that run, but none of them feel as good as that.
I'm impressed, man.
Hello, I think it's awesome that I'm here to see you.
Cool.
Really nice. My question is, in All Hell Breaks Loose Part 1, we find out that Mary has some connection with the Yellow-Eyed Demon. I'm wondering if that will be elaborated on in the future, because the Yellow-Eyed Demon's dead.
Right. Well, you leave Sam as sort of the sole survivor of all that. So yes, the question is sort of, which path is Sam going to go down? But for now, for the time being, with the Yellow-Eyed Demon dead, it's he's not having visions anymore. He's not having any of his premonitions. He's just back to being a regular red-blooded guy fighting demons. And it sort of leads into the bigger issue of this war and all the demons that they have to fight. But yeah, there are those issues, and we certainly don't drop that thread. We just we'll continue it throughout the season. But no more psychic kids. I got sick of that. But one, Sam's left, but all the other ones, I mean, they were great actors and great episodes. But by the end, I was like, okay, we need to kill them all. Yeah, and in the second episode, there's like a big sort of reveal about Mom, because if you remember in that episode you're referencing, it's like, wait, Mom knew this demon, and what's the connection? And we definitely track that mystery through as well.
I'd like to make a comment. I like how you used Carry On Wayward Son for the recap.
Sweet.
Hey, thank you guys for all being here. That's pretty sweet. You guys have the greatest show I've ever seen. So. I was just wondering, you guys are dealing with a lot of dark material, obviously, like urban legends and references to paganism and stuff, and I was just wondering if you got anything supernatural or unusual going on the set.
Every day, man. No, there hasn't been anything. I mean, we're so used to 100+ people working on set, so the bangs and the things dropping and just working on set itself is scary in its own right. But I don't think we've had anything to write home about as far as being whoa, we're dealing with something that's actually present. And if we are, we got the means to take care of it.
Okay, first off, I just want to say thank you for making a fantastic show. I've been with this since the pilot, and I love every episode.
Cool, thank you.
With all the long hours that you guys were working and the time that you put in, I'm sure that, pranks and jokes are pulled, and Jensen, I wanted to know what's the favorite that's ever been pulled on you and that you pulled on somebody else?
Oh, man. You can get out my list. Kim Manners, director and executive producer of the show, got us pretty good last season. He actually changed the entire shooting schedule around so that he could have this one shot done at the end of the day, which was Jared and I climbing down into a sewer. And they built up this big, long, probably 15-foot pipe with a ladder in it on set that we were to climb down. I climbed in first, and I was all the way down the bottom. There was nowhere to go because it was a set. And Jared's coming, he's coming in from up top, and right as soon as he gets all the way in, and I'm down there kind of crouched waiting, 2 5-gallon buckets of water come over the top, and I looked up, and I'm just like, that's not in the script. Too late. So, but we got it back. And they're continuing. It's another thing people are always asking. What pranks do you play on Jared? What pranks does he play on you? And we quickly decided that to pit each other against to pit ourselves against each other was not the way to go. So we actually get crew members and people that come up, and it's more of a team effort.
By the way, the water getting dumped on him, we rolled camera on to film it. It's in the season 2 gag reel.
Hi, I'm a really big fan. I was just wondering, Dean has a lot of one-liners that are just hilarious that crack the fans up. I know 2 of my favorites are, I hope your apple pie is freaking worth it. And then I fall on Swayze that mother. So I would like to know what your favorite is, Jensen.
Oh, there's so many. I'm not sure that I have a favorite. They make me laugh out loud a lot of times. I don't know, Eric. What are some of your favorites?
Man, right now.
I know, right? It's like there's so many.
Driver makes the music, shotgun shuts his cable.
Great. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to know if anyone on the panel has one scene that is their best work and it was cut for time and you're still kind of sad.
That opens up a very, very bad.
Oh, no. No, we actually, season 1, we used to have that problem a lot, where there were whole scenes we would lift. But no, by their very nature, they're liftable. So if you can tell the story without them, a lot of times you just don't need them. And season 2, we actually rarely had that problem. We sort of learned what the hell we were doing. We kind of came on track. So no, if you guys see the, again, the deleted scenes and all that stuff, like, I don't know if there's we put every deleted scene on the DVD, and I don't know if there's any that would blow you
Really
away.
stand out.
Yeah, they could be like, oh yeah, they cut that. Yeah, smart.
Not your best work.
Hi. My question about season 3 and whether or not there are any plans to show the Winchester Boys pre-series again like you did in Something Wicked.
Yes.
We're broken on story ideas through the first 10 at this point. There is currently no plan for that, but we love that idea. The little Winchesters are sort of like a fun thing to go back to. And if we find the right story, and it gives Jared and Jensen time off, so they're always like, how about the little Winchester?
That was a great idea.
Yes, I love that idea. No, we should do that. We should have a whole series. But I do like that notion. A lot of it is actually on Jeffrey's availability because you can't have the kids without dad, and that's sort of what's interesting about it. And he's a very busy man these days. But if we were ever to make it work out, we love that idea, and Something Wicked worked out great for us. So.
Thanks. And a great season, and whoever came up with the idea of using Renegade at the end of Night Shift.
I think to date that's my favorite music cue.
Yeah. So cool, man.
And that's Phil too. He made that really work.
Yeah, Phil.
You got to choose the right part of the song and shoot the right stuff to see it worked out beautifully. I agree.
Yeah.
Do you have any production problems shooting actors that are so tall?
Yeah, we build this trough that Jared just walks back and forth in. He's actually 7'3". And, no. We call him, Kim affectionately refers to him as Sasquatch. Sometimes we have issues. We don't never have issues with the two of these guys because they're both strapping young men. But every so often, like when we bring in like a female guest cast, it's like, well, Sam. And so that a lot of times we absolutely stand them on apple boxes off camera. So they're standing on like a little 2-foot riser to just kind of get up into Jared's orbit.
It's true because if you have a shot that's over her shoulder looking at Jared, if it was without any lifting,
the camera's got to be
up his nose. Yeah.
Thank you.
Which nobody wants that.
Hi. In season 2...
Check out the Metallica shirt. That's sweet. Right on.
In season 2, Sam didn't get to drive the Impala on screen at all. Is there a reason behind that? And is he going to drive in season 3?
Because it's my car.
That's the answer, man. Personally, in the room, I always get pissed when they're like, and then Sam drives the Impala. I'm like, why is Dean let him drive it? Yeah, it's Dean's car.
We're like, because Dean just got shot in the leg.
While she's still standing, this is the woman who does the plastic Winchester fans. She actually has them with her, but she's too embarrassed to ask if you could hold them while she takes a picture.
What are they?
The plastic Winchesters.
Yeah, sorry.
The Warner Brothers booth after this. They're all going to be at the Warner Brothers booth.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now my question. The music, everyone has said, music on the show is just fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing good music back to the American television. On the CW boards, we have a thread where we, try to pick out what the music is from each episode. We have some polls, and we have some cases where we don't have the music. We know what it is, but we can't find it. Is there ever going to be an official list of all the songs that are on the show? And then are there ever going to be ways where we can download it or CDs? Official soundtrack would be just awesome.
We tried, and just because, I hear you, this music is, my passion, and, so we tried actually to do an official soundtrack. Honestly, and maybe, I don't know, find the right person to write at Warner Music. They weren't interested. They said because there's so many classic rock compilations that Supernatural would just be another one, and they didn't quite see the market for it. I know. It's not like we're biased or anything. I know. And so we actually tried, and they said no to us. But maybe, that's a cool idea, and we do certainly have the list. So if nothing else, we could put a playlist together on iTunes or something. And somebody in our gang, write that down. Let's deal with that on.
Give me your email address. I'll tell you what we're missing. Thank you.
Thank
Do we
you.
have time just for a couple more?
Hi. I know somebody already asked about the pranks and everything, but what has been, and this is for everybody, what has been like, has there been a moment where something really amusing or something really just out of the blue has happened during production that's been funny or strange or just not supernatural or anything, but
Oh, there's stuff that happens all the time. I mean, even just yesterday, I was shooting a scene with a little boy who comes up and gives me a hug, and he has this like Nintendo case in his hand, and it hooks to my jacket, and as he takes off, that was just another time. Yesterday as well, I was supposed to reach in the Impala and grab my bag. Well, the props person had to shut the bag's strap in the door, so when I went to do that, I was like, "What's with the day?" It's a constant occurrence, and usually you'll see them on the gag reels.
one quick question and really random. What was the music for the film reel that was played?
Oh, that's a Robert Rodriguez song for, I think, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And Phil Segrisha, again, he cut that at the end of last season instead of working. So, but yeah.
Next. Try to get two more.
During the last season, you did some really, really excellent promos. I was really glad to see the Promax BDA giving 5 awards for those promos. I was wondering if you are preserving those, will they be available on the DVD collections, things like the Johnny Cash God's Gonna Cut You Down?
No, but what a great idea. The season 2 DVD is already done, and unfortunately, those promos aren't on them. But that's a really great idea for the future. I mean, yeah, some of those are really badass. And actually, I have to give there's 2 guys, Anthony and Chris at the CW, who are like as passionate about the show as everybody here, and they're always like cutting these promos and showing them to us. And they cut that Johnny Cash thing, and they're really kicking ass. So, but no, not on the DVD, unfortunately. But maybe we'll figure out someplace.
Fantastic. I hope there are some people here who've never seen Supernatural who are now going to go home and start watching it.
Thank you.
Okay, last question.
Hello. I just wanted to know who the genius behind the music, if it was one person or a group effort on choosing.
It's a group effort. I'm the one who says, don't even bring me anything after 1980. But Phil Segrisha, and we have a music supervisor, Alex, and everyone's always combing for what's a foreigner song, or what's the classic rock song we haven't heard yet that we all remember but we haven't heard in like 10 years that we can put in the show. So it's definitely a team effort.
Well, it's all very, very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Now, before we have to wrap it up, and I know you had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is kind of a combination. Thank you so much, and also sort of a mission. Season 3, guys, it was a little touch and go whether or not there was going to be a season 3, and I want us to make sure that there is a season 4. We love the show. We love the show, and we're passionate about it, and what we always talk about amongst ourselves is we have some of the smartest, most passionate, most intelligent fans of any show on television, and I would ask you, I mean, in a certain way, season 4 is in the audience's hands, and so, tell your friends and spread the word and spread the gospel of supernatural, because we're gonna keep making them as long as we have the audience to watch it. So I would ask for your help, and it's a team effort. We're sort of all in it together. But for now, you guys are the greatest, and we have the best fans, and thank you so damn much.
The autograph signing is going to be the Warner Brothers booth, number 4329, starting at 4 o'clock. Thank you guys for coming, and thank everybody up here.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go see if I can get in there. Good luck.